Have you ever felt judged just by how you look? Like people only see the outside and miss who you really are on the inside? If so, you need to hear the story of Toby. Toby was a big, fluffy dog, and well, a little too round for his own good. He lived in a small, quiet town where everyone knew him, mostly for his clumsy walk and his never-ending appetite. Whenever he'd waddle by, some of the kids would point and laugh. "Look, it's the rolling meatball!" they'd shout. Toby would just lower his head and give a little wag of his tail, pretending he didn't hear. But deep down, it stung. Not because of the jokes, really, but because of the loneliness that came with them. He felt like an outsider in his own home. He lived with Mrs. Irene, a kind elderly lady who loved him more than anything. She'd often stroke his soft fur and say, "Don't you mind what people say, Toby. A kind heart is worth so much more than any appearance." Her words were a warm blanket on a cold day, but still, Toby dreamed of more. He wanted to be useful, to do something that truly mattered. He wanted to be remembered not for his size, but for his heart. And one day, without any warning, his moment arrived. It started like any other morning. The sun was just peeking over the horizon, and the sweet smell of fresh bread from the local bakery was drifting through the streets. Toby was lying on the sidewalk, half asleep, lazily watching people start their day. Then, suddenly, a scream shattered the morning calm. At the end of the street, a house was on fire. Black smoke billowed into the sky, orange flames licked at the windows. Panic erupted. People were running, shouting, not knowing what to do. Then a desperate, terrified voice cried out, "My daughter! There's a child still inside!" For a split second, everything froze. The world seemed to hold its breath, and in that silence, Toby heard it, a faint, terrified whimper coming from inside the burning house. Without a single moment of hesitation, he was on his feet. He bolted forward. People shouted his name, trying to stop him, but Toby moved faster than anyone had ever seen him move before. He was a blur of fur and determination, charging straight into the inferno. He ran into the smoke, into the flames, barking, coughing, his eyes stinging from the thick, acrid air. The heat was like a physical wall, but he pushed through. And there, huddled behind a couch, was a little girl, trembling with fear, her face stained with tears and soot. Toby rushed to her side, nudged her gently with his nose to let her know he was there to help, then carefully took the fabric of her little dress in his mouth and began to pull. He pulled her with all his might, guiding her toward the front of the house. The heat was unbearable. The roar of the fire was deafening. The wooden beams of the roof began to creak and splinter above them. But Toby didn't stop. He wouldn't let go. With one final heroic surge of strength, he pushed the little girl through a broken window and leaped out after her. They hit the ground hard, a tangle of limbs and ash, but they were safe. The girl was alive. When the firefighters finally arrived and got the blaze under control, they found the town's fat dog lying on the grass, completely exhausted, covered in soot, his chest heaving with every breath. The little girl he'd saved was hugging him tightly, sobbing with relief. And for the very first time, nobody laughed at Toby. The crowd that had gathered stood in stunned, silent admiration. That night, the local news headline wasn't about a clumsy, overweight dog. It read, "Local hero dog saves child's life." Toby became a legend. The very town that once mocked him now celebrated him. The children who used to point and laugh now ran to give him gentle hugs and scratches behind the ears. He even received a shiny gold medal for bravery from the mayor, which he wore proudly on his collar. Mrs. Irene, with tears of pride streaming down her face, knelt beside him and whispered, "I always knew my sweet boy. I always knew my Toby had the biggest heart of all." Today, if you visit that small town, you'll find a bronze statue of Toby standing proudly in the town square. And at its base, there's a simple inscription that reads, "The size of the body does not measure the size of the courage." They say that on quiet evenings, when a soft wind blows through the square, you can almost hear a distant, happy bark. As if Toby is still there, watching over the town that once laughed at him, and that in the end, learned from him what true heroism really means. Because courage doesn't have a shape, or a size, or a weight. It has only one measure, the size of your heart. If you believe that true strength comes from within, let us know in the comments. And please share the story, because you never know who might need a reminder that even the most unlikely among us can become heroes. Thank you so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe for more inspiring stories. We'll see you in the next one.